Hi everyone, it's Kim. Today I'm going to go off on one of my budgeting videos because I think this is going to be important information coming up for people to know. I believe we're headed for a food crisis in this country based on everything I've been seeing and reading and hearing and researching and things like that. We had terrible weather issues last year. This is a known fact. We've had huge crop failures. I've seen them in my area, like 40% crop losses. That's in conjunction with the fact that 25% of the land just in my county alone was not even plantable in the spring. So then you're taking that plus what was unable to be harvested in the fall, and we're getting 40% or greater that crops that we lost. States are reporting they had complete losses of potatoes, 90% losses and things like that. So I think I want to give everybody a little course, just really quick, on how I actually shop for food. Up until this point, I was only spending approximately $60 a month, except for really good specials and deals and things that I would stock up on. And, this is an exception. I understand. I raise chickens and turkeys. I have my own eggs. I have my meat there, except for beef and pork. And I garden extensively so that, and I put up a lot of my own food, vegetables and fruits and things like that. So most people don't have this opportunity. I understand that. So I'm going to give you a little idea when I do go to the grocery store, what I look for, so that maybe you can get an idea of one way to save some money. Now, a lot of people say, meal plan ahead of time. That does not work for me anyway, because I don't base my meal plans on what I normally eat. Like, I don't say I eat spaghetti with meat sauce once a week. I eat pizza once a week. I go by what's ever on sale. So this is one of the stores. This is 2 weeks of sales papers, and this is what I do. I wait, because usually, let's see, this paper came in on Wednesday. So I still have until Sunday before the second paper is even able to be shopped from. But what I do is I look at what's coming up on sale, so I know whether it's a good deal this week or not. So this is my current paper. Happens to be the 31st of January. So you can see I still have a couple days left. Now, normally I get this second paper on Wednesday, so I have more of the week to shop. But I didn't, I just didn't want to go. I don't have to shop this week, so I wasn't going to do anything. But I just want to give you an idea. So first thing I do is I look and see what's on sale this week. And if you look, this is actually a pretty good deal. Now, if I wanted some beef roast, I would go now, because right now, today, it's $2.99 a pound. This is why I look at that second paper. Next week, it's going to $3.99 a pound. The average roast, 2.5 pounds, I'm going to save $2.50 by shopping today versus next week for the exact same thing. And most people, I know it takes a little bit of organization, I guess, if you want to call it that. I just look at the paper and I say, okay, what can I buy this week for my meals? What do I have on hand? Always have chicken and turkey usually in the freezer. So I know that I'm going to eat that minimum 3 days a week. So I have 4 days a week where I need other sources of protein for my meals. Normally I do some kind of a meatless meal, such as fried rice, where I use my own chicken eggs. So now I need 3 other flavors, if you want to call it, of protein. So I would go to the store and I would say, okay, I'm going to go get me a couple of beef roasts. If I want it twice a month, this looks like the best deal, and it is the best deal I've seen in an extremely long time. These prices are crazy cheap right now. And I don't want to get too far off track, but this scares me even more because I know, because of where I live, I'm in farming country, that they're dumping beef right now. They didn't have enough hay come off the fields this year. They don't have enough feed for next year. So I believe the beef prices are going to skyrocket next year. That's, of course, conjecture on my part, but it is based on what I know is happening in my farming community. And I've been told by the farmers that they have to get rid of the cattle. They've already gotten rid of some of the younger ones because it takes almost 2 years for them to grow out a calf to a beefer, to turn into meat for us. And they can't afford to feed those guys for almost 2 years so that we can eat them. But anyway, so based on this, yes, I love pot roast. And I think I'm going to break into my little, food budget here. And I'm going to go pick me up a couple of roasts. So, and what I do with that is, this is another money-saving tip. We eat way more protein on average than we need in this country. The average woman needs maximum 5 ounces of protein a day, and that's from all food sources. If you break it down into grams, there's 9 grams per ounce, approximately 7 to 9. Even your vegetables have a little bit of protein. Your starches have a little bit of protein. I give myself 4 ounces of protein a day other than the other sources that I eat. So if I go buy this beef roast, I'm feeding 3 people, 2 men and myself. I'm going to cut that little roast up because I like it fresh cooked. I don't like it frozen and rewarmed. I'm going to take this, let's say I get a 2-pound roast. It's going to make 4 meals for me. I'm going to cut that into 4 portions, at most 3, at least 3, depending on how much fat is on there. I may have to do some trimming. But so that's going to give me 3 meals, let's say, and it's going to be $1 per meal. And then I add in my potatoes, my vegetables, if I make rolls or whatever goes with it. So one of the things you have to think about when you're food planning is just because a recipe calls for, let's say you buy, I don't know, a box mix hamburger helper, and it calls for 1 pound of beef. If you don't need to use that much, you can use 3/4 of a pound, and it's not going to make any difference except for your pocketbook. I actually physically take, when I get ground beef in, I measure out 3 servings for the people who live here, and not one of us are not always here. My nephew is here on and off depending on, if he's in school or working in the city. I will say, okay, I need 3.5 ounces for myself. Each guy gets between 4 and 4.5 ounces. I'll actually either make a small container that I wanted to show you this very quickly. I just took all of this meat. As you can see, I have my scale out there, and I measured it up into roughly 12-ounce packages. These are slightly more because I had an odd number, so I divided it equally, so they're probably more like 13-ounce packages. And that's how I like to measure out my meat, and it's about to go in my little vacuum sealer here into the freezer. And the reason I do this is I took, instead of, this is almost exactly 6 pounds of meat, just over, and instead of getting 6 servings or 6 meals for us, I'm going to get 8. So nobody's going to miss that little extra, 4 ounces in the meal, especially since I do a lot of casseroles and, stuff like that. And I really stretched 6 meals into 8 meals. So that's one way that I save on my meat. And this gives me, twice a week now for a whole month worth of hamburger. So I just wanted you to see this. This is what I'm talking about when I say, stretch your meat out in your meals. Small container that has 12 to 14 ounces of ground beef in it, or I make them into patties because even those I can throw them straight in the pan, chop them up and make my meals. So I don't cook 1 pound at a time. I cook 3/4 of a pound at one time. That extra little bit goes back into another little baggie where I separate them out, and now I could take 2 pounds of meat and make 3 meals out of it. So anyway, I want to get back to this. So I watch what's coming, what is on sale now, and what's coming up. So I'm going to go and stock up on a couple of these roasts because I know this is an excellent deal. This is even this is a good deal at $3.99 a pound. They sell all winter long in my area. I have not had a good roast because they have never been under almost, like, I think the cheapest I saw was $4.89 a pound. So I know this is a good deal at a dollar a pound off. This is a tremendous deal. So I'm going to take probably $10 out of my food budget, and I'm going to go buy me a couple. So another thing, yes, this is a great deal on steak, but for me, that's just way too much money. I can't do it. I don't see chicken coming up, not chicken breast. If you want to eat the breast, I look in my papers, and there's none on sale next week. So if I wanted chicken breast, I would say, well, that's a good deal. I'm going to go buy me some. And knowing what's been on sale in the past 6 months, it's never been less than $1.99 a pound. So if you need to stock up on chicken, you know what's the best sale price recently. When you see a price like this, you go and stock up. What's even better than this, though, is next week you're getting chicken thighs for 99 cents a pound. Yes, there's a little bit of bone in the thighs. I don't get the legs because that's more bone. It's about 50% bone. So in my opinion, you're not paying 99 cents for chicken legs. You're paying like $1.50. But I would get the chicken thighs. With those chicken thighs, I save the bones out of them. Yes, I actually, before I freeze them, I cut the little bone out and I make a bag of bones. I then, in turn that into soup. I boil the daylights out of them. I get all the nutrition out of them. Now I have a little chicken broth that I can flavor rice, which also adds a little bit of protein to it. And I can use it for a soup base or gravies to, stretch my food budget out. So if I'm not stuck on I only eat white meat, I would pass up the chicken breasts and I would buy a pack of chicken thighs. The skin adds a lot of flavor. If you're, worried about the fat, we need a certain amount of fat in our diet. As long as you're eating lean, everything else, don't worry about it. You can also pull the fat off, the skin off, render it down, and make some great stuff to cook with. It's got a delicious flavor. Throw the skins in your crock pot on the lowest setting, let it render that fat out, and now you're going to have some terrific fat to flavor your meals. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject here. This is a great deal. It's not the best we've had, but you can pick up a whole boneless center cut pork loin for $1.69 a pound. My problem with that is, yes, even if it was, say, 99 cents a pound, I have seen it as low as $1.29, and I did buy one this year because I have it cut up into chops. The problem with something like this is you have to buy the whole thing. That whole thing doesn't cost me $1.69, or maybe I pick up 2 pounds. I have to buy 10, 11, 12 pounds. For 3 of that's a lot of meat that I might not have the budget to put $20 out into one piece of meat. So you kind of have to judge that too. If it's something you use a lot, when it was $1.29 a pound, I had nothing else I needed to buy at that time. I bought one. I had them slice it into chops, and I put 3 little chops into each bag so that I can have those ready to make dinner. So anyway, that's one of the suggestions that I have, is to, if you can, find the 2 sales papers, one for this week, one for next week, so you can compare what's going on. In turn with that, now this is one store I have in my area. It just happens to be that I have stores approximately 10 miles apart in 3 different areas, one of which is Walmart. Walmart meat, I don't buy. I'm sorry, I don't care for it. And I have never seen the good prices as what I see here. This meat comes directly from our people that, farm in our area, and it's fresher in my opinion. So now what I also do is, not only comparing the sale papers themselves, I compare between the 2 stores. Now let me see. I want to get the same paper for the same week. This is next week. So this is this week. Now I know next week that this particular store has some meat that I'm going to buy this week because next week it's more expensive. I will look at the 2 sales papers side by side. The first thing I look at is the protein. That's, to me, the most expensive thing you have to buy. And I want to see if they have a better price. Well, They do on the chicken. If I need chicken, it's 99 cents a pound. Yes, it is bone in. If you use the bones the way I told you, where you take them, and you can do it after it's cooked. Tell your family, cut your meat off the bone, take the bones, put it in a freezer bag. You can then, again, turn it into soup or stock, I should say. You could turn it into stock, which in turn can be used to flavor other things, can be used as a soup base, or you can add a little thickener and turn it into a gravy where maybe you get an odd number of chicken breasts. There's 4 of us. We eat 3. I have 1 left over. Can't feed 3 people on 1. It's what most people think. Yes, you can. I take that extra one. I take all the meat off of it. I take that broth that I've done. I make some gravy, add some vegetables to it. I can make a pot pie, or I could put it over potatoes or noodles to make a full meal. So anyway, I'm going to compare what do they have on sale this week. What do they have on sale this week? A lot of times one thing will be cheaper by 20 or 30 cents, and then this store might have 20 or 30 cents saving on roast, but this one has, a 40-cent saving on something different, and I judge which is going to be the better deal. So I'm going to look and see. Yes, baby back ribs. I love ribs. I'm not going to lie, guys. $2.77 a pound in my area. It's not a bad deal, but I have to judge. Is it worth spending that much for bones? You get a little bit of meat on there, but 2/3 to 3/4 of that is bones. So that takes that $2.77. If I'm looking at just what I'm getting from the meat, I'm looking at closer to, $7-8 a pound. And I just can't justify spending that kind of money. In the summertime, avocados around here were $3 a piece. They're in season in California and wherever these are coming from. And so, now's the time, if you like avocados, to stock up. At least in our area, at 88 cents, each. That's a tremendous deal compared to $3 or $3.50 each is what they were asking for in the summer. So if I like avocados, I'm going to go buy a few. I'm going to take and freeze them, add a little bit of lemon juice so they don't turn colors, maybe make some guacamole. I'm going to throw it in the freezer so when they're back up to $3.50 a pound, I'm going to have the chance to eat my avocados. What my issue is right now is I am a cheese lover, and the cheese prices have skyrocketed recently. Living where I do, dairies are shutting down at the rate of 3 a year in my county alone. It's difficult to farm. You have to have people there 24/7 in all kinds of nasty weather. It's very hard to get people to do that kind of work. So I know cheese prices are going up. It's an okay price. So if I really want to make that once a week pizza that I make, I would consider when it's on sale like this, you have to buy 5. That's a huge hit out of my budget. But I have to admit, I do love ketchup, so I would add, maybe 2 cheese, 1 ketchup for the pantry, whatever else I'm going to need. So, start looking at comparing one week to the next, if you can do that, one store to the other. Find out who has your best deals. If you can, if you have the time and the ability to go to 2 different stores to shop, get the best prices from one store, get the best prices from the other. People tell you always shop with a list. I always shop with the list. I know what I need when I'm going in, so I do not have to go around saying, oh, what should we eat this week? I wonder, well, that kind of sounds good. And then you get home and you're thinking, what did I buy that for? It's not one of our favorite foods. I was just looking for something different. No, take your tried and true, what you know is on sale, but always carry a little bit of extra cash. Put $20, hide it in your purse, in your wallet, and say, you know what, if I see a tremendous deal, let's say I walked in the store and, which I do, by the way, I know when these stores put their meat on clearance. Monday mornings is, if I'm going to shop for deals on meat, I walk into the stores on a Monday morning and I look, whatever they didn't sell, by the time the next sale starts, it's on a tremendous discount. So that's how, I stock up on my freezer meat. So anyway, if you, need to watch your food dollars, shop with a list, only buy what's on that list. Kind of have an idea what you guys are going to eat that week. Go with the list, ignore everything else. Once the list is covered and maybe you have a little extra dollars left over, you could say, okay, you know what? That was a pretty decent price on the meat. I run a kind of a running total on a slip of paper. I round it up to the nearest 50 cents. If I budgeted $40, which is what I do now every 2 weeks, and I have spent $35, I have $5. And I think, did I see anything that's too good to pass up? If no, that $5 goes back into my stock up budget. If yes, I'll take that $5 and I'll go stock up. A couple of months ago, I had my little extra $5. I was walking through Walmart, happened to be Walmart that day, and I look and there's a 20-pound bag of jasmine rice on clearance for $1.75. And I'm thinking, that's what I pay for 2 pounds. I looked at it. The bag was not broken. It was not expired, which really, I don't think rice really expires, but I'm just saying. I asked, why is this so cheap? They said, we're not going to be carrying that brand anymore. We only had a couple left in stock, so we're clearancing them out. That bag of rice is now in my long-term food storage because I'm never, ever going to see a price like that again. In my history of shopping, will I ever see a 20-pound bag of rice for $1.75? So it's good to have a few dollars out of your food budget set aside for these incredible bargains. But anyway, I just wanted to give somebody my take on how I grocery shop. This helps me feed 3 people. I was spending $60 a month. I'm now going to up that to at least $80 because I know how high the food prices have gone up. One thing I enjoy as a snack is pretzels. One of the reasons I like the pretzels is I was paying 78 cents a bag at Walmart for a pretty good sized bag. It was like, 20 ounces of pretzels. They're healthier than chips. Sometimes you need that little salty crunch, and it's something I can't personally make myself. I've tried making pretzels. I just can't do. I can do the soft ones, but I just want something crunchy. That exact same bag of pretzels, when I went to walk through the other day, is now $1.58, and it's only 16 ounces. So not only am I paying close to double what I would have paid before, now I'm getting less in the bag. So it's kind of like, do I really, really need those pretzels, or can I find another substitute? So keep an eye on your food prices. I think you're going to notice they're going up. In our area, and it's been reported across the country, the shelves are getting emptier, which is definitely true. When I went to this meat market last Monday to find deals, which I did find a great deal on hamburger. It was all half price. And I stocked up with my little stock up money. I asked the meat guy, I said, how come you guys don't have any meat? This is like, you're never this empty. And he told me, he said, we are not stocking like we did before. We can't afford to be discounting meat that doesn't sell. We're only putting enough now what we believe is going to sell in that week. So they're ordering and producing and packaging less meat now because it's something that they can't just, put in a freezer or throw on a shelf for a year. So focus your food budget where it needs to go. Think about maybe, can you make a loaf of bread instead of buying it? I was shocked. I went to buy a loaf of bread and the cheapest one I could find was $2.58. That was the cheapest loaf of bread. Thank goodness I make my own 99.9% of the time. I was devastated. I can make bread for 25 cents a loaf with the cheap flour on sale. So I think people are going to, it's one area of the budget that you can control better. That it's one area where even though the prices are going up, you can control versus your electric bill, you can only turn off so many lights. The food, you can say, you know what, we're not buying 18 boxes of Hamburger Helper this month. I'm just going to learn how to make it myself out of that broth that I made, I'm going to thicken it up and I'm going to flavor it and I'm going to add some vegetables to it and maybe my own noodles or my own rice. And now I have almost a free meal because it was just leftovers from something else. Anyway, if you have questions, post them to me. I'll be happy to make further videos. If you have a money saving tip, I would love to hear it as well. If you know of other people who, I know there's shop the coupons. I understand that. We do not get coupons here in our area. Our newspapers do not give coupons. They don't do double coupons here. There are no such things as free coupons around our area. I wish there was. That's how I used to save money when my kids were young. We used to have stores that would double up to $1. It just doesn't happen anymore in our area. And that's in the Metro Detroit area as well, because when I was living in the Metro Detroit area, none of the stores had that. They would double up to 50 cents. But it was all manufactured coupons, and the store brands were always cheaper. And like I said, I don't eat a lot of packaged foods. So if you have hints, tips, recommendations, share them with everybody here. I read all the comments to every YouTube I watch because I look for these kind of hints. I would love to share them with somebody else. And I hope that you kind of think about adding a little bit each week to your food stores. So if you have a crisis come up and you need to, maybe not spend that money this week, you can figure out how to go to your stores. Personally, I have a month that I could feed us. It would not be boring. It would not be just beans and rice. I could feed the three of us for a month, no problem. And I add to it a little bit as I go along. So anyway, I don't want this to turn into like some huge lecture. This is what you need to do. This is how I do it. I'm sure other people have their methods, but I've been asked by my family, by other people, how do you manage to, eat on this little? I was told by a gentleman on Facebook that I was a liar, that it's not possible. I'm telling you it is. But you really have to watch and get the bargains and learn how to shop and learn how to stretch that meat. Instead of a pound for 3 people, it's 12 ounces. Put that extra quarter pound, that's 1/3 of another meal, into a baggie and freeze it. So have a great day, everybody. I don't want to run on forever. This is already much longer than I intended it to be. I hope maybe I was able to help you, even if it's just save $5 on your grocery bill. I'm here to help. So have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the weather if it's good in your area. It's gloomy here, but at least it's not cold. I appreciate all of you being here, and have a great day. Sorry, guys, I don't look my best. I just got done cleaning the duck pen, and I'm wearing one of my grubby shirts. But anyway, I wanted to mention a couple of YouTube channels that I really enjoy watching regarding budgeting and prepping for food. And the first one is Alaska Prepper. I've mentioned him before, and he's just a super nice man. I enjoy watching people that appear to be very kind, and he's just quite the gentleman. Anyway, go check out his channel. And the other one I want to mention is, one of my kitty cats decided to come join us, is called Mornings with Granny. And again, she's just a beautiful lady. She has some really cool things to do on her channel. She has budget videos and shopping videos, food preparation videos, not making a meal, but like how to plan for, how much food to eat and what it's going to cost you. Sorry. This is Bear. He's one of our rescue kitties, by the way. Him and his brother were dumped out in our barn, in our field, and were almost starving when we found him, and I guess he's showing his appreciation today. But anyway, go check out Mornings with Granny. She has a series called What If? And, it makes you really think about your food security quite a bit. So I just wanted to add this in here, and I think I'm going to be loving on him while I upload this video. So have a great day, everybody.